Hey everybody, it's Dusty Skeeto. Welcome back to Two-Wheeled Lifestyle, my little mini-series where I talk about making the transition from car to motorcycle. So, we've already discussed our gear, our gadgets, and our bikes. And so today we're going to talk about luggage and the art of carrying around. So, one of the biggest things that you give up when you go from a car to a motorcycle is the ability to just say, screw it, I'm going to toss it on the seat. I'm not talking about, trunk space at the bed of a truck. At the end of the day, there are going to be some times where you have to hit up a buddy or have, a way of getting a hold of something you can carry large items of furniture in. That's just how it works. However, that day-to-day transportation is definitely something that you lose when you go from a car to a bike. So I'm going to talk about a couple of traditional pieces of luggage and then a couple of kind of homebrew things. So first off and foremost in the conventional luggage is your tail bag. You'll often hear these referred to as tail bags, top cases, top bags, that kind of thing. What you'll generally see there, at least in hard luggage, is you'll see kind of an egg-shaped pod sitting on the back of someone's bike or a large crate if they're a KLR owner, that kind of thing. And downside to these is that they do add a lot of weight and a lot of mass to what is essentially the worst part of your bike you can add that to. This is, strictly speaking, just from a center of gravity perspective, at least especially on a sport bike, your tail is the tallest part of your bike. It's the furthest part back. So putting weight there affects your center of gravity the most. That said, I've ridden on motorcycles that were very heavily loaded down on the tail end, and as long as you respected the fact that you had a lot of luggage on your bike, it wasn't really a big deal. You just handled a bit slower, and you had to be a lot more careful when the speed got slow. That's not a big deal. The upshots to these is that in terms of price per unit of space, they are the best bang for your buck. You can get them for relatively inexpensive that can hold 2 full-face helmets. They are lockable, waterproof in most cases, are quick detachable with a key that they come with, and in a lot of factory cases they'll be keyed to your ignition key as well. So you just have one key that takes all your luggage off. It's great. Also, you can get some that have backrest built in for passengers, which is really nice. You can also get some that have tail lights and brake lights integrated into them, which is really nice from a safety perspective. So just something to think about there. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more stylish, because I personally think tail cases look kind of funky, you can go with something like saddlebags. Saddlebags, the big downside to them is that they're generally going to be the most expensive piece of luggage you can buy. And this is largely because the mounting points for them, especially going the aftermarket route, have to be custom built for your model of bike. So that's strictly because they have to route around exhaust pipes, they have to figure out, what your tail section looks like, where your handholds are, where your passenger pegs are. All those things they have to tie into is probably going to be completely different from any other model of bike. So that's something they have to account for. However, I think they look cool. They affect your center of gravity the least as far as, your large storage items are concerned. They keep the weight nice and low, generally speaking. The hard cases, which you'll generally hear referred to as panniers, or side cases instead of saddlebags. They're lockable, waterproof again, usually some kind of quick release on them, and they're good storage. Now, you do lose some sheer carrying capacity. Even if the combined volume of the 2 cases is larger than a equivalent top case, it's split between 2 of them. And especially on a lot of bikes where the exhaust pipe's carried up on the side, one case is usually lower capacity. Either that or it sticks out farther to account for it. So it's something to think about, but for your day-to-day stuff, I used to have a set of saddlebags that I used, and they were fantastic. I could carry a 30-pack of beer. I could carry my motorcycle cover for when I had to park it somewhere where it needed the cover. It was great. And if you have the money, they're a great way to go. Also, brings us to tank bags. Now, you generally have a few varieties of tank bag. You have your magnetic ones, like the Joe Rocket Manta, I believe is what it's called. You'll see those a lot on basically any motorcycle that has a metal tank. So, you got your standard sports, your sport bikes, some touring bikes. On dual sports like mine, though, obviously not my bike, borrowing it while my bike's down for repairs. On dual sports like mine, you'll usually see a stuff like the Wolfman Explorer, I believe is what it's called. They're strap mounted. They usually have some kind of quick release base that the bag itself attaches to, but that's held on via straps to either your fuel tank, your frame, etc. These are also convenient. I think the straps don't look as good as, just having it be held there with some really, really powerful magnets, but it's all a matter of taste. Then you also have, I'm going to call it your other category. When I had my Ninja, I had one that basically mounted to a special fuel cap that I put on, a fuel filler cap. And it was quick release, never had any problems with it. It was well worth the money. Which brings us to the main problem with tank bags. Price per unit of space, they are the most expensive luggage you can have, short of hiring a truck to follow you around with all your gear. I paid about $100 for a tank bag, and basically I used it to hold when I would go on rides, put my keys, my wallet, my phone, a bottle of water, maybe some snacks, and that's about it. The upshot there is that it was a very convenient place to get to all that kind of stuff. So if I got somewhere and needed my wallet right away, it was right there. If I just needed to stash something in real quick, or like my badge for when I go in the gate at work, very, very convenient. And that's really where they shine, is quick access to small items that you need frequently. And a lot of them even have like cell phone pockets built into them with touch-sensitive covers, so you can use your cell phone while it's in your tank bag. I think that's pretty cool, would heartily recommend it, especially if you're not in a position to have some kind of handlebar mount to hold that stuff. So that's basically it for the traditional motorcycle luggage. And these last couple are going to seem really obvious. Everyone's probably already doing this anyways, but what the hell, it probably bears repeating. So this is kind of your homebrew luggage. Luggage that isn't specifically meant for motorcycles, but totally works just fine. And I'm not specifically talking about like the KLR owners putting the milk crates on the back. While that totally does work, I figure that's just a homebrew top case more than anything else. So one thing here is stuff like a backpack. It actually is completely feasible to do all your commuting on your bike with just the backpack. That's actually what I'm wearing right now, and that's what I consistently use on my way to work and back. The nice thing is about it is you probably already own one. Even if it's just a holdover from when you were in high school. They're not waterproof in any way, you know, they're not really going to help you in a crash, at least probably not. But, like I said, you've already got it. It is incredibly quick release. As soon as you step off the bike, your luggage is detached from the bike and is now with you. The downside to the backpack, or anything else like that, I used to carry my laptop into the shoulder strap that I would kind of keep pinned behind me, is that you're committing to the amount of storage space that you're going to have with you as soon as you gear up. So you can't get somewhere and then decide that you need to get something if you left your backpack at home. So you are kind of committing yourself to that decision much earlier on, whereas if you have something permanently mounted, you have a way of saying, oh, I'm just going to grab that real quick. Or, you know, I need to pick something up on the way home. It can fit in my top case. Good to go. And the last one is this one, again, very stupidly obvious. Just a standard duffel bag. Even if it doesn't have a rigid bottom or anything, the luggage system that I used on my Ninja when I went on those road trips with it was I had my saddlebags, and then I used it was a canvas duffel bag that I strapped across the seat, and it rested on the saddlebags as well. Once you get everything held in place with bungee cords, it's all actually pretty solid, and it's a really good way to hold large bulky items like your tent, your sleeping bag, your pillow, your blankets, etc., that you just don't really have a good way of stowing anywhere else. You know, it's really hard to find a good warm sleeping bag that is going to fit perfectly in a saddlebag. It's hard to find that without spending a ton of money. So anyways, that's pretty much it for this topic. If you have anything else, of course, let me know in the comments. I do have a couple of videos in the hopper that need to get shot and edited, but very good stuff on, you know, a little bit more about the gear that I use for this kind of stuff, as well as just like, you know, the time and prep work. So, anyways, thank you everybody for watching. Thanks for tagging along with me. Dusty Skido signing off.